of this discussion because it's riddled with nonsense and people need to learn the truth.
As you know, my brother Daniel was murdered with an AR-15, which is one of the most commonly used weapons in mass shootings.
No, it's not. The most common weapon used in mass shootings is a handgun. Like, it's not even close. Handguns are the most common weapon type used in mass shootings in the United States, with a total of 149 different handguns being used in 101 incidents between 1982 and October 2022. These figures are calculated from a total of 134 reported cases over this period, meaning handguns are involved in about 75% of mass shootings.
You know, I did get the law changed of banning assault weapons back in 92 or 3, and but I could only do it for an X number of years. It had to come up for reconsideration, and when it came up for reconsideration in the Bush administration, they did not let it. They let it go. They wouldn't support it.
Joe Biden is being very vague about what he's saying, so I'll state it outright. The assault weapon ban from 1994 to 2004 had a sunset clause that after 10 years, if they couldn't prove the assault weapon ban actually did anything, it would expire. In 2004, the Justice Department literally said, if the ban were renewed, the effects on gun violence are likely to be small at best and perhaps too small for reliable measurement. But please keep letting Joe Biden sell this nonsense about how effective the previous assault weapon ban was.
We were we're not at the White House, we were at a restaurant, and I left the keys in my automobile. And some underage kid came out, stole the automobile, was driving and killed someone. I'd be liable. I'd be civilly liable because I was irresponsible leaving the keys in the car. I think anyone who owns weapons, any weapon, should have to lock them up.
Sure, it may be true that if you left your keys in a car and some kid stole it and ended up killing someone with your car, you could be held civilly liable. But there are some problems with this analogy. One, you want to hold people criminally liable, not civil. Two, if a kid ends up stealing a car and ends up killing someone, we don't ban everyone from owning a car like you're trying to ban everyone from owning an AR-15.
I don't think that these assault weapons are...
I hope the people watching this video caught that. I've stated it over and over again that the phrase assault weapon is a made-up term. It was a term made up by the founder of an anti-gun group that wrote this in 1988 about the term assault weapon. The public misunderstanding over the nature of semi-automatics would play directly into the hands of the gun prohibition movement. Weapons' menacing looks coupled with the public's confusion over fully automatic machine guns versus semi-automatic assault weapons, anything that looks like a machine gun is assumed to be a machine gun, can only increase the chance of public support for restrictions on these weapons.
I find no rational reason why assault weapons should be able to be sold, period. And I promise I'm going to do it. I'm going to go right at it again when they get back in session.
The Second Amendment was written so the people had the means to fight back against a tyrannical government, foreign and domestic. Joe Biden has been in government his entire life. So, of course, he doesn't believe there's a rational reason for people to own AR-15s. If there ever was a reason we had to use them, we'd be using them against his administration. So of course he doesn't want us having them. He wants control.
A ban on assault weapons should be made a priority because, as you said, they're weapons of war that are not made to kill animals. They're made to kill people.
I can't stand when people who have no idea what they're talking about state their opinion on their ignorance with such confidence. The Second Amendment has nothing, and I'm going to repeat, the Second Amendment has nothing to do with hunting. The first part of the Second Amendment literally says a well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state. What the hell does the hunting have to do with the security of a free state? And she said that dumb with such confidence too.
Vote, vote. We need a couple more Democrats in the Senate.
And there you have it. For all of my liberal gun owners out there, I love y'all. I really do. But Joe Biden just said what I've been telling y'all for years. The Democrat Party as a whole is anti-gun. There are no pro-gun Democrats, which is why Biden said we need more Democrats in the Senate. Not more pro-gun control politicians, but more Democrats. So I don't want to see any more comments about why you always talking about the Democrats when it comes to gun control. Joe Biden just told you the Democrats are anti-gun.
It did not address a limit on high-capacity magazines, or it took a small step for background checks. So what pathway has your administration identified that will close that gap so that we are more protected from individuals that want to use guns to harm us?
This woman is so naive, it's painful. But I don't blame her. She is a product of the that is our current administration. The government is her Lord and Savior, and that's the way she's been educated. There are more guns in this country than there are people. You're not keeping guns away from criminals, and you're especially not keeping so-called high-capacity magazines away from them either. We have over 300 gun laws on the federal level and close to 20,000 on the state and local level. If gun control laws work, they would have worked a long time ago.
The idea that you could sell, my legislation says there can be no more than 8 bullets in a round.
Because his response was so ridiculous, I did a separate video responding to Joe Biden's response to this question, which should pop up somewhere in this video box.
For every mass shooting that you read about, like it happened at her school, for every single one of those, there's a mass shooting taking place every day in the neighborhood. You know, you got 4,000 of these things. But I mean, and they never get mentioned. People walk into a school, but in tough neighborhoods, there's mass shootings every single day.
Oh, stop it. The only reason you're mentioning the violence in our inner cities now is because for years, the gun community called you and the rest of the anti-gun lobby out because you all never gave a shit about black kids killing each other. You all only made noise when there was a shooting in a white suburbia. Then, when you all couldn't ignore it anymore, y'all started mentioning it as a footnote and only used those shootings to pad the number of shooting deaths to scare white suburban housewives living in gated communities who would think those numbers were the numbers of shootings in suburban America. Don't start caring now, Joe. Back in the day, you called these same kids beyond the pale.